Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder, president, and chief executive officer of Shop.com and the Market America global family of companies, ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Ridinger! Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Ridinger! Folks, give it up for our president, our founder, and our CEO, the man who invented the plan, J.R. Ridinger! Thank you, love you. Woo! Wow. Huh? I love you. Well, how many times is this? This is like the 44th, counting Taiwan, probably 50. You think we would get good at it. Well, listen, I'm so glad you're here tonight. I don't know what I would do if I walked out on this stage and it was an empty auditorium. I'd be in real trouble then. But let me welcome you to my living room. We're having a little meeting tonight in my living room, a little fireside chat, if you will. And I'm not going to do a recap because Mark Ashley does such an incredible job, and you know, the whole team, Steve and Lauren on social media. What do you think about what Mark showed you? I mean, we're really making it happen. We're really leading the parade. But normally I kind of put all the smoke in the jar and recap everything and send you off with a plan. But I want to talk about you tonight. I want to talk about being a UFO and what the DNA is that creates tremendous success stories, that turns somebody into an entrepreneur that's free to do whatever they want for the rest of their life. You want to be one of them? Of course you do. I want to give you the answer. And I want to tell a story about how we got here. Because in that story, there's a lot of little stories. There's your story. There's a story of what makes it work. There's a story of what makes us different. You know, so, you know, I believe that the answer and to the business is completing what we started with the shopping annuity. And I'm going to talk about that until, like Frank said when he first saw the plan, over and over and over again, and listen to the tape until he puked. I'm going to make you puke the shopping annuity. Because it is the answer. And this is really about you and making it happen. Cookies versus the bakery, because we got it all, and our DNA and identity. So, this is my first world conference, believe it or not. It really is. Now, I know that you don't understand that and don't believe that, but this is my first world conference or convention because it took 23 years to get where we are to begin. And what I started out with a vision and a dream, is now ready to be a reality. It just took 23 years. You know, when we started out and I had this vision, it was all about the shopping annuity. And I didn't realize, I thought we were just climbing a little hill. And oh, we get this done, it'll be no problem. At the end of the first year, I thought, well, maybe it'll take 5 years. And I'm really going to go to work. And we built while we worked on making the mall without walls a reality. And, you know, all of a sudden, I found out that we were climbing Mount Everest. Should we turn back? Well, we got halfway up and a storm hit us. We had to decide whether to go back down or go all the way. Was it possible to make this climb, to change the world? And we decided to keep going and keep going. And you might not know if we were at the peak, but I'm here to tell you we're at the peak. We have climbed Mount Everest. We're ready now to begin. And, you know, the way it was back then was a lot different. We really didn't have anything. But we're at the summit now, and we're ready to begin building the shopping annuity and building the business the way it was always supposed to be built. Are you ready? Yeah? But, you know, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. While we were building this, and it was just kind of practice for 22 years. It's kind of nice to practice, and you end up making over $3.5 billion in our practice run. You understand that, right? You know, but look at what I ended up with, we ended up with. I mean, a seasoned, loyal, experienced, integrated executive team of warriors and generals to start with. Most people start with nothing, like we started with nothing. But we're just starting now. People that stood the test of time and put through every imaginable test. People that weathered the storms. That's what we're starting with. A community of entrepreneurs and leaders that are lifers in the business, that have proven their persistence, their dedication, and we become a family in the process. That's what we got. That's what we're starting with. I mean, 300 UFO millionaires, and it's growing by 20%. That's what we're starting with. Thousands of UFOs earning tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds earning six figures, tens of thousands of people having retail profits to supplement their income, to have a better life. Millions of loyal customers who depend on our life-changing products and beat the door down for them. Who else has that, huh? You know, and you made a few billion in the practice session too, together. And an incredibly profitable and secure company and field organization. And we have one of the only partnerships, true partnerships in the industry, because we are a solid partnership. You agree with that? I mean, so, you know, and so as we went along climbing Mount Everest, not realizing that it was going to be such a climb, there was a lot of magic moments that made us what we are. And for those of you that are new that don't know what a magic moment is, a magic moment is when the future's uncertain and unknown, and no one really knows what's going to happen. And you got to make some decisions. You don't know if it's worth going through. And someone has a billionth of a volt snap across their cerebral cortex, and they get it, and they make the decision and the commitment. So we're just starting tonight, but on this journey, that decision and that commitment changed and determined the future. And we've had many magic moments, from Lauren irritating me into doing this thing in the first place, and then becoming a genius marketer herself over the years. Incredible, incredible genius brander and marketer. She gets more done in a day than most people in a month. To Mark begging me not to stop or quit when we were running out of money, and over the years becoming probably one of the best COOs anyone could ever wish for, you know? And Dennis throwing that guy up against the wall who's going to undermine us, and watching my back for all these years, and even bringing us Professor Kevin Buckman along for the ride. Thank you, Dennis. I mean, you know, to Lauren and Mark bringing an incredible family of entrepreneurs and friends who literally built the inside of this company while I worked in the field, okay? And did it from nothing. I mean, Joe, Steve, Brandy, Anthony. I lucked out. Some people marry into money. I married into entrepreneurism. You know, to the pioneers, my real partners, who joined when there was nothing to believe in, and have survived every calamity, failure, problem when it was a good reason to quit, and they didn't. And breathed the life and belief into the vision, which led to all of you being here tonight and making us what we are today. Thank you, guys. You know, I'm talking about Weber's, Bowling, Kiefer's, Hannon, you know, Vicki Lee and her friends who led the Chinese market America. And the incredible IT guys who joined us, like Richie, Eugene, Brady, Vince Hunt of Shop.com, and our marketplace gangster Eddie Alberti, creating miracles. You know, and to the recent magic moments, because they keep coming, with people like Fat Joe and Bishop Jordan committing to bridging the demographic gap to bring prosperity to all. And you saw it today. You see them, they believe. You know, and I want you to know something. I don't forget those magic moments, big or small. There's so many of them now, we need to write a book about them. And somebody comes up and says, "You left me out." I said, "Well, don't worry, it'll be in the book." You know. So this is my story, you know. You always tell me your story. Let me tell you my story. First of all, I'm here because I was inspired by a very special dad. He used to come to all these. He can't walk anymore. Amanda, want to come up and kind of tell? Because we all come from something, and you may not realize the impact of this. People say, "JR, you are really something." I mean, I don't know where you get your passion and your commitment to people from. I get it from my dad. He was an incredible coach. You want to tell real quickly?
So over the past few months, my dad and I have been sorting through archives of medical records and handling medical matters with him. Recently, he's really had a decline in his health, and he's had to stay in bed, and he's in so much pain. And he wasn't able to get here this year, and he was so upset about that. He was just really sad not to be here. It's the highlight of his year. And I'm sure you remember him being here year after year. There's so many people that came up and said, "Tell them hello, how are they?" He's been here 42 consecutive leaderships, international conventions, and world conferences. They're the biggest fans of the company. They love the corporate team. They love all of you. And it's very sad that he couldn't be here. So what we decided to do was get him a large smart TV so that he could watch World Conference at home from his bed. And what really struck me was the conversation I had with him when we told him we were getting him the TV. It was really a reminder of what an amazing person he is. When I told him we were setting it up, which in reality, when you think about it, it's just a little gesture. It's not really that big of a deal. What he turned to me and he said, "Well, I don't deserve that. That's too nice for me. I just don't deserve it." And for him, that's a pretty standard response. And I turned to him and I reminded him, I said, "Granddad, you're a champ. You're a legend. You've raised a wonderful son who's changed the lives of millions of people." I said, "You have another son who's in the medical field who helps so many people, and you were the coach and mentor to hundreds of high school students and changed the lives of so many of them. The residual effect that he's had on other people is just unbelievable." And his reply was to me, "Well, that wasn't me. I still don't deserve it. It wasn't me, it was them. It was the boys that I coached. They did it. They're the champs. It was my sons. They're the champs. I'm not the champ." My dad says that was one of his characteristics. He always gave the credit away for everything he did his entire life. And I noticed how it came back to him and multiplied in respect and success. While I was organizing his things, I discovered volumes of letters over the years, hundreds of letters that students, coaches, and parents wrote to him. And it blew my mind. And April was helping me work on this, and it brought both of us to tears. She actually helped type up the letters for him so we could read it. And she came back crying, and she said, I just can't believe how much he affected people, and how much they loved him. I remember growing up in South Jersey, even with all of this you see here today, I occasionally had people recognize my last name, but you'd be surprised to find that the majority of the time it was for him. He was famous for changing people's lives all throughout South Jersey. I heard so many times the stories of how he impacted the lives of students and football players, and these were strangers that I ran into, introduced myself to, and they said, are you related to Dick Reiniger, to the coach? And even with all that experience, hearing about him, I really didn't fully understand who he was or how wonderful he was until I started looking through the archives of his things and his photos and all these letters. And it really, helped me understand the magnitude of this man's impact on thousands of young people. He was a coach, he was a mentor, and he was a teacher, and it really made me realize how privileged I was to be his granddaughter.
That's great. So there's a message in this story. A message in this story about my dad that I think we all need to take to heart because it's a key to success in the business. You see, you have to love people. You have to find the good in them. And sometimes that's a little difficult to do. But my dad was a first lieutenant in World War II. His life was spared. I wouldn't even be here in the battle or the invasion of Normandy when an awful lot of people got killed. And he ended up in the hedgerow section of south of France. And, he tells a story about a sniper that shot at him out on the battlefield and hit his helmet. He said, Jim, I'm only 5'6", now I'm 5'8". He says, thank God I was so short because if I was 2 inches taller, it would have gone right in my forehead. He has the helmet. So he was sent out by the captain to pick off that sniper with a platoon. And they went out and, broke into the doors and broke into the upstairs, and the sniper was gone. And just then, artillery shells bombed the house, flying through the house, tore it apart. He got thrown into a closet. And when he came to, there was a book in his hand, all French, with a poem dropped out of it. A poem dropped out of it, and it was in English. And the poem reads like this: I know something good about you. Wouldn't this old world be better if the folks we meet would say, I know something good about you, and treat us just that way? Wouldn't it be fine and dandy if each hand clasp fond and true carried with it this assurance, I know something good about you? Wouldn't life be lots more happy if the good that's in us all were the only thing about us that folks bother to recall? Wouldn't life be lots more happy if we praised the good we see? For there's such a lot of goodness in the worst of you and me. Wouldn't it be nice to practice that fine way of thinking too? You know something good about me, and I know something good about you. And he modeled his life. He decided to model his life after that, and then actually was in the Hall of Fame for high school football coaches with an incredible record. But what he did was he would find kids that were troubled, that weren't doing well, and he would take them under his wing and get them to believe in themselves. And his belief in them was so great that they ended up changing their lives and becoming champs and going on to college and doing great things. And there's literally hundreds of stories. So He's watching tonight on Meet On. So, Dad,
We love you.
we're glad you're here. Anything else? Okay, that's it. And that's him. So, basically, what my dad taught me was that you have to succeed so that others can realize their dreams. You hear that? And you have to do it through making other people successful, and then your wildest dreams come true. So put the focus on the good in other people and making them succeed, and you'll get your just due. You'll get your reward. And that's really what Market America is built on and what it's all about, isn't it? So, thanks, Dad. So, I'm not kidding when I say that this is my first day in the business and our first real event, because this was always about the shopping annuity. You just didn't know it because you saw the pieces here and there. But just think about all of our events. Look back, let's take a little trip back. All of our events and the titles to them. The ones in red are all about new technology, the one-to-one marketing concept, the advancement of having multiple businesses under one business and being able to match product to people and people to product. I talked a little bit about this the other day. Just think of some of the things that we've taught and drilled into you. One-to-one marketing, test marketing products, adding and dropping lines, UFO and customers determining what our product line is, mall without walls, product brokerage system, computerized marketing or internet marketing, ordering electronically, portal, internet marketing, marketamerica.com, UFO, /UFO name, transfer buying, professional service package, tracking PC orders online, to transfer buying, auto accrual option, preferred customer program, IBV products, other brands, 2 MPCP banks, mass customization, Peppers and Rogers, remember that? Chatterbox and social network, social media program, customer tracking, easy registration, requirement notification, automatic IBV placement in 001 and 02, with transfer buying centers and reentries, UFMS system, one-to-one marketing, next one, social commerce, MA Direct, Facebook, advertising, bonus pool, unfranchised.com back office, direct recruiting site, regional IBV, shop.com integration with MA and unfranchised system, comparison shopping, cashback and customer referral, customer customization of site, affiliate marketing program in Taiwan, coupons, deals, hot deals, auction sites, recommendations, navigation by stores, brands, categories, my list, auto ship, celebration, celebrity ambassador program, home advisor, now home shopping advisor, shop buddy, get conquer and lifestyle merchandising, meeton.com, Adobe personalization, recommendation, personalization, metrics added to UFO sites, API evangelism and developer portal, shop tracker in UK. All in one breath. Now, that's a lot, right? Yeah? And that's what we have done over the years to get here. You may not have realized it, but it was always about the shopping annuity because it's where the power is. And this group, with you, went through that journey. I knew where we were going, though. And look at some of the things look at you guys back then. And we had a lot of fun, didn't we, while we did it? Okay? It was a great trip, a great journey. And here we are. And during that, we taught you over and over again the principles that are the DNA of the business, the things that you need to know to be a great entrepreneur and be great at this game. Over and over and over again. Just run that, and I teach through parables because people don't remember facts or seminars. They remember stories and demonstrations. The question I have for you, are you applying these things? Remember, all that information doesn't do a bit of good if you don't apply it, because what? Information plus application equals transformation. And we've given it to you all. Now, I'm asking you tonight, how much of it do you apply? How much of it has become your DNA? How much of it do you go out every day and week and actually do, including the social media? And how much stinking thinking do you get rid of? Because, see, that's what's going to determine what happens to you. And are we going to get off the treadmill? So, 23 years of training and programming. You're our finest. You're our special forces. You're here tonight to launch the shopping annuity, even if you don't realize it. So, have you seen this stuff before? Are you doing them? You see, today we're going to talk about that. And it really is our DNA. Would you agree with that? It's what we are. So let's talk about these things. First of all, you got to put the big rocks in first, because your life gets cluttered with work, with chores, with recreation, with TV, with sleeping, and then there's no room left for the big rocks, the dreams. But if you put the big rocks in first, everything else fits in anyway. So what's your big rocks? What's your why? What's your dream? And are you putting it in first? How many of you have your dream first in your life? You know, and the word can't. The word can't is a thing that kills us. 15 years ago on the stage in Greensboro, we buried can't. Literally had a funeral. And you all wrote down what your can't was. And we buried it because I can, I will, I'll do it right away, you see. And we're always ready to go to the moon. We're always lifting off. We're always ready to go in orbit. We're always taking off, aren't we? And we're taking off again today. That was a lot of fun, huh? And of course, we know about the old one-eyed monster that prevents a lot of you from doing the little things each day that make the business work. You got to get rid of that TV until you can control it, until you're on TV. Meat on. And then we know that the key to the business is finding the right people. But how many of us don't practice this? We still get 2 people on our list and we beat them to death. We bother them, pester them, push them, when what we really need to be doing is 2 a week. And you even committed to doing that in the beginning so that we have hundreds. 2 a week times 52 weeks is 100. How many people can honestly say they do that? Well, then the 2 to 3 year plan has not been clicking the clock. You can set it back. You know, but the nuts rise to the top if you fill the bean jar. But if you don't fill the bean jar, they're not going to rise to the top. Now, have you filled the bean jar, honestly? You know, so you got to get in the wheelbarrow. Guy crossed the Niagara Falls on a tightrope on TV with a wheelbarrow. When he got across, everybody applauded. He said, "You think I can do it again?" They said, "Yeah, we think you can do it again." He dumped out the bricks and said, "Then get in the wheelbarrow, I'm going back across." Are you in the wheelbarrow tonight? You see, it's belief. It's like Joe was talking about. And of course, you know, we'll talk about it tonight. You've been doing the business. You got out of a job to get off the treadmill. And we know the treadmill, the 45-year plan, you do it for 45 years, they lie to you and tell you you're going to be free, and you end up broke. So you get into business, and you end up doing the same thing. Because you don't do the shopping annuity. You don't have your tickets. You don't do a follow-up. You don't do the ABC pattern every week. Because I can ask you, did you get to the next house? Is it one level deeper? No, I didn't, you know, they couldn't do it. You know, so, and we'll talk about that a little bit later tonight. So what it really comes down to is, in this business, we have it so systemized so defined, it takes no talent. Anybody can do the basic little steps. And we do it as a team with them. We don't expect them to do it. We don't sign them up and do it. We take them with them. A brain surgeon becomes a brain surgeon. That scares the living daylights out of me, how anybody could ever open up somebody's brain, because he did it with somebody else 10,000 times before he was allowed to do it. And how many meetings did you do with your people in how many different homes so that they do duplicate? And I'm talking about you. You think I'm talking about somebody else? I'm talking about you. I know you're not doing it because you would be making $500,000 a year like me. I make more than that, like Elizabeth. Why? Because you're here. Why am I shouting at you? Because you're here and you deserve to be successful. And you're not doing it. It's not that it doesn't work. It's not that you can't do it. You know, somebody said to me the other day, the business is so great. We have so much to offer. We do so much for people. We have the bakery. We have all this stuff. But for some reason, people just don't know what the next step is. Well, that's because somebody isn't doing it with them. You're supposed to be doing that next step with them. But moreover than that, they're just not doing it. So what if I could make a pill? Do you agree that the business is extremely systemized? From showing the plan, to following up, to the getting started guide, to the fast start kits, to the basic steps of the business. Is it very systemized? Is it almost automatic? But you got to do it. So I come out with a pill. You get double BV and double IBV on. It's called the Do It pill. And if you take this pill, you automatically punch the applications each day. The little things that you got to do. It take a couple hours versus at work working 8 hours and beating your head against the wall and fighting traffic home. You can do that, but you can't do the two little things. Make the call, make the list, do the follow-up, right? So this pill makes you do it. It makes you go to your social media. Can't wait. You do a hashtag search and find somebody else. This little pill, all of a sudden, you start doing it. Make it the next day. You start doing it. All of a sudden, your business is growing. So at the end of the month, we look at everybody that bought the pill because the volume should quadruple. In your group, overnight, right? So we came up with this magic pill that made your people do it. Imagine that. Imagine that. So here's what happens at the end of the month. We check who rose pen levels, who grew. And over 50% of the people didn't grow. Well, we know the pill works. So we went to them and we said, what happened? You got the pill. If you took it, you would have done all this. I forgot to take the pill. Oh, that one is a good one. They forgot to take the pill. You still don't get it. The business is so simple. It's systemized. You got to do little things. But for some reason, people don't do it or they don't know what to do. So we get a pill. They take the pill. They get double BV, double IBV on it, and automatically they'll succeed. So at the end of the month, we check it. And the ones that didn't make it, we ask them what happened, and they say, I forgot to take the pill. You'll catch that one on the way home. I know it didn't go over your head, but it went under your feet. Well, okay. So it's a simple stairway, and we do the daily little steps, and this pill makes somebody and reminds them and motivates them to do it. Because if you do the daily tasks, the weekly tasks automatically happen. And here's my point. Some of you say you've been in for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, or maybe 1 year? Have you really been in for 1 year? I want to take a look at it, because it isn't a clock that keeps going, it's a stopwatch. And it only clicks when you're doing these things in the 2 to 3 year plan. And some of you got to set the clock way back. And that's good news. You got more time because you weren't doing it. Does everybody understand that? Powerful. But if we do it automatically, and I'm going to tell you something, the shopping annuity is the answer. If you don't understand why, you'll find out. Because people recruit you. Because automatically they're using the product and the retail goes up. And a lot of other great things come out of it because of the momentum, just like the thermochrome experience. But this all goes into our DNA, doesn't it? It makes us what we are. And my point is that if you aren't doing those things, it's because you have not got the DNA yet in your head. Because the DNA makes you do them. It's automatic. It's what you are. You don't have the DNA of a bird because you can't fly. But if you have the DNA of a UFO, you automatically start hitting pin levels because you can't help yourself. Is this making any sense to you? You know? So what's happening? Do you notice that there's something different at this World Conference? Has anybody noticed it? Okay. Now, you can't put it in a test tube and say it's there. It's something going on. And I'm telling you what's going on. The shopping annuity has started. It's going to take over your business. It's going to change everything, okay? And it's an idea whose time has come, and you can't stop an idea who's come. It's already become a movement, and it's turning into a revolution. And, I mean, what's happening? There's something different here. There's energy in the air. There's commitment. There's belief. There's a renaissance starting. And it's right there in the Miami arena. And you're fortunate enough to be here today. Like Elizabeth was fortunate enough for us to meet in the beginning, and Frank and Tony and Pam. You all look at them and say, wow, if only I got in with them. Believe me, you wouldn't have wanted to. But now is the beginning. And you're so lucky to be here. What is this excitement about? These are leaders that have been in the business for years. All of a sudden, they're going bonkers. Maybe you don't know what it is. Maybe you're missing out. Ha ha. Maybe you ought to find out. Okay? Here's what happened. Something happening here. Something happening here. And I show you that because there is a new birth. People are being born again into business. They're seeing the light. And they're making commitments, signing their Declaration of Economic Freedom, Independence. Because we now have a way to bring all that stuff I talked about into something so simple that almost works automatically. It almost works as well as the plan on the PowerPoint. 2 get 2 get 2 get 2, hit check. It used to be the marker board. And we found out that the plan worked better on the marker board than in reality because people weren't perfect. But this is what went on last night when they came here. They had to break the room open 3 times. The excitement was incredible. This don't happen at breakout. What's going on? It's the beginning of a new era.
That's all I have to say.
It's happening, folks. It's happening right now. This is when Elizabeth Weber or Tony Bowling or Frank Kiefer got in. This is the beginning. And you have a lot more going for you. And it's about doing the shopping annuity. And you will not learn it by reading about it. You will not learn it or benefit from it by talking about it. It's a little bit like building the business. There's only one type of learning, experiential learning. You have to do it. And when you do it, you'll see the result and you'll figure it all out. And so how many people are going to join the revolution and do the shopping annuity? Okay? Because there you go. There you go. Now we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. Yeah. Oh, I love you for that. We're going to fill this place with directors. It's dangerous. And you're going to be one of them. Okay. Now, Mark Ashley. Where's Mark? Well, yeah, I know. I got him going. Let me tell you something. I'm a hard person to buy for. I mean, I got almost everything that I want. And so he bought me for Christmas, of all things, a drone. Uh-oh. A drone. Do you know what a drone is? I'm addicted. I'm addicted to the drone. Now, you're going to do the shopping annuity? We will be watching you. Now tell the drone if you're going to do it. Tell them, stand up. Tell the drone. Shopping annuity, 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 shopping. And we can change the world. It's a revolution. It's a revolution. We're going to do it. We're going to make it happen. We're going to change the way people shop with this power, people power. Wow. Tell him. He'll be coming around, coming to your house, coming to your house. We'll be watching. We'll be watching you. We'll be watching you. Okay. Thank you, my little drone. Okay. So, do you understand what happens when you get excited like that and make a commitment and we're watching you and we all do it? Do you realize what happens to residual income, the checks, to pen levels, to your group? Do you realize you're going to get rich? It's really going to happen, man. It's really going to happen. So, back to my story. When people used to ask me, what do you do? You ever get that? What do you do? What is it? I used to say, I sell stuff. And they said, what? Yeah, I sell stuff. I said, what do you sell? I sell everything. What do you want? And they look at me, well, what do you mean? I said, I do one-to-one marketing. We match product to people and people to product. I find out what people want and keep it in a database. If you want something, I'll find it for you. And if you have a problem, I have a solution for it. I'll bring it to you. And I have a little entrepreneurial opportunity where I set up people to make a lot of money with that. And it's been very good to us because we don't need to sell anything because we find what people want and we just bring it to them. I don't need to say anything else. The guy qualifies himself or not because he's going to come after that or not, called reverse recruiting. So now when they ask me, what do you do? I say, I convert spending into earning. I have a shopping annuity company, and I'm really an economic alchemist. An economic alchemist. I turn spent money into earning. Like it's an investment when you spend it in the bank and you get paid. I have not had one person that I have ever said that to not want to get in it, do it, and then the problem is I can't keep them just on the shopping annuity. They all want into business. It's the answer. Try it. You'll like it. It works. Okay. What do you do? I own Market America and Shop.com, the company that is going to take Amazon down. That's what I tell them. You know? Well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? They're a multi-billion-dollar company. Well, we're doing $1 billion almost. You know? I'll tell you how we're going to do it, though. They don't got any people power. You can't even call them up. You have to send them an email, and they don't answer it. They lie to you, too. They put the products that are most profitable for them up and push them to the front. But we find what you want and give you the best deal and give you cash back. But he said, well, that's kind of like David versus Goliath. I said, that's exactly right. And we have the slingshot. In fact, we got 10,000 of them, and we're all aiming. And remember, David beat Goliath. You see? So if you get that slingshot, we can't miss. We'll take that giant down. Do you believe that? Do you believe rationally, logically that it's possible? And remember, in a digital age, the power of viral spread or multiplication or exponential growth is very real. I remember when there was no Google. I remember when there was no cell phones. I remember when Dennis and I had a cell phone that big. I remember when there was no social media. I remember when there was no Amazon. I remember when there was no computers. Someday somebody will say, I remember when there was no shopping annuity. Wow, how did we live without it? Well, here's what I tell them about our company. In fact, this is what I told the guy that ended up putting me with the digital Bishop Jordan. Well, what's it? How's it all work? And so I tell them the genesis. And understanding the genesis of this company is what makes you totally believe in it, because you realize that everything has happened for a reason and it's in line with reality. It's absolutely proven to work. It's a tried, tested, proven formula that has unlimited leveraging power, and it's proven to work. So I tell them, it's really made me into a bit of an economic evangelist. I am a secular, even though I am very spiritual, okay, economic evangelist. I give people economic salvation. That's my mission. Now, you can handle the rest, or you can see the bishop or Pastor Rick here. They'll give you the rest of the salvation. I can give it to you, too. Listen, I tell them that, look, this is a story of humble beginnings. We basically came from nothing, lower middle class, okay, little Levitt community. My dad and mom were teachers, went through the Depression, like a lot of people. I can't say I lived in the ghetto. I wish I did, because that would be a credit to me. you know, I would have done well, you know. But at any rate, you know, and this little company has turned in, so I didn't have any money. I didn't have a silver spoon. I had great parents. I got an education, and I had a dream. I had a vision, an idea, and it's turned into a billion-dollar company with over 300 millionaires, 160,000 unfranchised owners, and tens of thousands of people enjoy better residual income and a better life because of it. The name of the company is Market America and Shop.com. You can imagine this conversation on a plane, you know? And it's a product brokerage and internet marketing company that specializes in social commerce. And we simply provide people what they want and need, and we provide solutions. And we have a tracking system, the most amazing tracking system that accumulates credit to you for everything that you buy and everyone that you lead to. Kind of like when you go to a movie, somebody tells somebody else and tells somebody else. We have a way that tracks that. And it kind of serves as a case study or an example of what can be done from nothing, because we had nothing, didn't we? You know, and it's proof that the average people can make it today, and it's not dependent on money, connections, or education. It's dependent on thinking and belief. So, I like to call it the shopping annuity. I add this now. I like to call it the shopping annuity because we convert spending into earning through our entrepreneurial unfranchised owners. And so at any rate, that's what I tell people. I thought you'd like to know that. But there's a message in this because it's at the essence of what we are. Now, this concept goes back really to 1982. There was an article written in 1984. I wonder how long you can hold on to a dream. How long can you stay the course? How long can you be passionate about what you believe in and that you know it'll work? This original idea of thinking and vision, okay, created the evolution and the realizations and the experience that created this in reality. There's Atlantic City Press, South Jersey, pretty big newspaper, 1984. Other network marketing companies take too much of the volume and too many people. In 1959, you could make a profit that way, not anymore. Most importantly, writing this company will lead the network marketing industry into the computer age. Computer marketing is a coming thing in 5 years. I thought it would happen in 5 years after I started this, 9 years after this. But home computers will be commonplace and people will order products by computer. The next step is setting up customers for computer shopping. When the market segment opens up, we'll be there. The funny thing about this is Vince Hunt of Shop.com at the same time was putting catalogs, paper catalogs online so people could go through them and place an order. Serendipitous. Right, Vince? And, I mean, so, and then it goes on to talk about different product divisions and product brokeraging and the mall without walls. 1984. When did we start? 1992. So, when I say that this is my first world convention for me, it's the truth. But the passion and the idea goes way back, as shown in this article. It was a precursor. Now, you guys that are in nutrimetrics should know what a precursor is. It's the thing before the thing you want, and it makes it. But a thought, an idea, a vision, a fundamental belief that there was a better way of doing things and that we could band together rather than be in competition, be in cooperation and use our collective buying power to create a new way of buying and shopping that we all could reclaim our economic right rather than being used by all the big companies and become the people that make the money. That was the belief. Do you see that? Now, a new paradigm. Now, it led and gave birth to Market America after a 9-year pregnancy. Not 9 months, 9 years. You know, the binomial marketing concept and the unfranchised system. And the objective was always, from the beginning, the shopping annuity. To provide people everything that they needed and wanted. Did you ever hear me say that in the old days? Someday, Market America will provide you and your customers everything that they need. And you said, the guy's nuts. He's lost his mind. All we got is some drops, you know, and thermochrome and some, you know, liquid. I don't even know what it is. Even when we got isotonics, you thought I was nuts. But I am nuts. I had no idea that it would take this long, but, you know, everything was always leading up to this, and not until now was everything in place to actually execute it. And in fact, I didn't come up with the name until a year or two ago. I knew what we were doing, but I didn't know what to call it. It's called the shopping annuity. That's what Market America and the plan and the unfranchised system is all about, okay? So, this story has many messages, and, you know, the message that I want to get across to you, you know, there's always a message behind a story. And the reason great prophets teach in parables is you have to dig for the meaning, and it's much more meaningful when you get it. Would you agree with that? And you don't remember facts, you remember stories. So this is a story. And why are we different, unique? Why is this a paradigm shift? It's about entrepreneurism and your journey. Your journey is a microcosm of my journey. And your success and manifestation of your dreams and goals is a microcosm of mine. So I'm telling the story of how we started and evolved so that you can see how our identity came out of the journey with a series of events and how one thing led to another and how problems actually produced a solution. And it led up to the notorious movie example. How many people know the movie example? When the billionth of a volt went off and the seed was planted for all of this, an epiphany and a billionth of a volt. You know, Princeton University has a psychokinesis department. They did all this study on the brain and the mind, and they determined that it took 1 billionth of a volt for a human being to change their mind or to make up their mind, and that could change everything. Psst, I want that billionth of a volt to go off tonight. You know, so let me ask you something. We've done pretty well, haven't we? You know most of the rest of the story. Were those in the beginning lucky? See, I believe that luck is when preparedness and opportunity collide. When preparedness, and you're going to see a lot of stuff prepared us for this, and opportunity collide. And it's the right time and the right place, and you're going to fill a need that never was before, which is going to change the way things are done because it's a better way. And let me tell you what happens when you're passionate about your preparedness. You attract the collision. You attract the collision. And, you know, I can remember my friends, and you all have them, my friends from the beginning, when I told them about this, Bishop, they didn't agree with me. They thought I was nuts. That'll never work. What makes you think that's going to work? So I see them today, you know, and they say, hey, JR, wow, man, you've really done well. Man, you sure are lucky. Look at your houses and your boats and your company and all the friends you got, and wow, man, you really, really are lucky. Is aren't you the same guy 15 years ago, I told you about this. You told me I was nuts and it would never work. Oh, that was different then. I mean, you've done it. I mean, look at you, man. You know, I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I didn't listen to your ass. That's the truth. But this all started with me graduating from college in science as a marine biologist. And I got a job at Sandy Hook Marine Lab in New Jersey, working for the government, went out on resource assessment crews. I was the lowest guy on the totem pole, and I had to take the assessment of what they pulled up in the nets of the fish and the diseases at 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 6 o'clock in the morning. And we'd be out for 3 months. And I would know, Jacques Cousteau, that's what I thought I was going to be. You know, and so at any rate, one day it was a little stormy out. I was out there at 4 o'clock in the morning. I look up, and a wave came across the boat and washed me across the deck. The next thing I remember, I was hanging on to the wires over the edge. The adrenaline rush. Whew, I pulled myself up. And I said, I don't want to be Jacques Cousteau anymore. I don't want to be, you know. I said, get me off this boat. So I went home and made up my mind that a job wasn't what I wanted, because the research I did, somebody else's name even ended up on the paper. I didn't get any credit. So I went to Bermuda with my friends and you know, on spring break or whatever, 1 year out of college, and it was just great, and all these beautiful homes. And I remember saying, who are these people with these boats and these huge homes? The guy said, well, that's Ross Perot's home right there. And the guy said, he was you know, a British guy, and you know, he didn't own the house, but he ran all of the service units. And he became my friend. He said, well, son, let me tell you, these are the entrepreneurs of society. Entrepreneurs are the alchemists. They create jobs and business out of nothing and take the risk. And because of it, when it works, they become wealthy. I said, I want to be one of them. That's what I want. I never heard of the word before. I want to be an entrepreneur. So we went home, spent all our money, had to hitchhike to get home in the pouring rain from JFK. And wouldn't you know it, a Cadillac picks us up, you know, in the pouring rain. Now, you know, in that area of New York, that could be a little troublesome. We didn't care. You know, we jumped in the car. I started complaining, telling the guy about how I wanted to be an entrepreneur and how I couldn't stand going back to work. And I would go on and on. He said, really, really? He said, you know, I challenge you. I don't really believe you're telling the truth, but if you really want to do that, I might have something for you. The guy came to visit me, showed me this little plan, and had my head spinning. He says, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you got to know what it takes to do it. And you got to know about residual income. You need to come to a seminar. And he sold me a $5 ticket. I didn't have the $5. Long story short, that Saturday when all my friends went down to the beach to chase the girls, I was in my clunky old Mustang with the muffler falling off, fighting the traffic to LaGuardia Airport. Got there, sat through a seminar, and they talked about residual income. Blew my mind. Holy moly, why work for 45 years and end up broke when I can do something that would produce residual income? I say, I will never do anything in my life that my time into it does not produce a residual income. That's the one thing I know that I will do. And I live by that. He said, now you got to listen to tapes. You don't know what to do. You're wet behind the ears. Here's a tape. It costs you $6. It's called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. So I got the tape. Now I didn't have any money to go to the bar or anything. I was totally broke. And I'm listening to the tape. And it went on and on and on and on and on about what the secret to success was. Building to a climax. I mean, will you get to the point? What is it? So at the end of the tape, it finally said, we become what we think about all the time. That's the common golden thread that runs through all the most successful people in the world and the secret to success. I said, I was 21 years old. I said, that could not possibly be true. For if it were, I would be a girl. But it is true that you're predominant. Oh, look what I ended up with. It is true. Well, I know I'm not the girl, she's the girl. But at any rate. Okay, so that set me off on a journey that I never expected to take into business, marketing, direct sales. And over 10 years before I met Lauren, I was a top distributor, unfranchised owner, independent contractor for 3 companies, national training and meeting director. That's where I created the NMTSS. Corporate boards, consultant, director. I learned the problems of companies. Executive marketing group is something we had that Rick Hannon probably knows about. It, training systems, seminars, audios. Started a co-op coalition of independent marketing groups called Legacy International, which is what the article's about, the precursor. Had a cosmetic and image consulting company. Met Lauren when I was doing an as seen on TV marketing company in Greensboro, and she picked me up. Became a direct sales regulatory liaison and consultant between the lawyers, the principals, and the regulators, getting them to see eye to eye to come up with a solution. DSA board of directors, 2 terms, consultant or executive of a couple marketing companies. And here's what I got out of it. I saw the same problems and shortfalls or deficiencies over and over and over and over and over again. But I was in deeper than I could get out. It's too late to go back to school. I had to figure out a way to make something work. So let me digress for a moment to explain the law of creation and how it applies to this and to your life. Because you all have stories in some way similar to what I just told you of what happened to you. How did that materialize into the future? How did you capitalize on it? So this is a demonstration of how everything works. This is a demonstration of why you are exactly where you are and have what you have right now. You think it's by chance, and you lose. God made man in his own image, is the law. Now, what does that mean? It means that he gave man the power to choose, the power to think, and power to reason, and the power to create, just like he created. This here was a thought 23 years ago. I saw it in my head. I saw you 23 years ago filling this place. Now, when you have that vision, that why, that thought, you draw on the omniscience power of the Godhead and universal consciousness. You can define that religiously however you want. It's all the same in every religion. God created man in his own image. He gave man dominion over all the creatures of the earth. He gave man the ability to choose. He gave man the ability and power to think and reason. He gave man the ability to create. So all creation starts with a thought, a dream, a must, or a why. So if you don't know your why, if you don't know what you want, if you don't have a vision of how you want life to be, you already lost. Because you're going to get what comes along. You see? Everything starts with a thought, a vision, a mind, in your mind's eye. You hold that vision with emotion. You know why these people are all executive vice presidents? because they envisioned it. They saw it. They believed it. Then you think. You don't know how it's going to happen. When I had the vision, I didn't know how it was going to happen. Do you all understand that? Then you think, you reason, you research, you learn, you plan, you figure out how it can be done. Then you get problems. You ask for it. That's what God serves up. Problems. But the problems lead you to the solutions that make it work. I'm telling you, I've experienced it in my own life over and over and over and over and over and over again. The solutions and ideas will come to you from nowhere. Whoom, holy moly, that's the answer. Have you ever had that happen? The people will come to you. The money will come to you. Where did these guys come from? I couldn't be more blessed. I didn't know them. Where did you come from? I didn't know Pam and Tody Bowling. I didn't know Elizabeth Weber. I didn't know Dennis Franks. I was led to them. They dropped out of the sky in my living room. So then we turned that goal and a goal statement into 5 steps. Define what you want, when you want it, because you have to have a coordinate and time to manifest in reality. What I'm willing to give, I break it down into the steps, bite size. If this is what I got to do in a year, what I got to do in a month, what I got to do in a week, and what I got to do in a day. Because the days add up to the weeks, and the weeks up to the month, and you can only take it one day at a time. So I do the daily, the weekly happens. And the real reason you do that is so that your conscious mind understands how it's going to happen and that it can happen. Yeah, that makes sense. Because if you don't know how it's going to happen and don't figure it out, doubt takes over. That's the devil in the process. Doubt. Because you don't know how it's going to happen. So when somebody says, Joe, you can never do that. They all waste a lot of money. You're not going to make any money. The doubt wins, right? Because you don't have an answer. Okay, so this is a creative process. It's like a computer program. The mind is the greatest computer ever made. You put the thought or idea in. Okay, you visualize it, focus on it, concentrate it. If you really want it, you believe it. You commit as if it's going to happen. Then acceptance is the key. When you accept that goal, that dream, that vision, that business model, when you accept it, and acceptance means you accept that it's a reality. It's going to happen. Because you know how it's going to happen. Like happened to every one of you on a pen level, guaranteed. When you accept it, you demonstrate it. That's the DNA. You act that way. You talk that way. You are a field vice president because you talk like one, you act like one, you do like one. The BV then catches up. And you see manifestation. The manifestation, and that's how all things, every building, this arena, every Olympic athlete, and Market America, and Shop.com, and the shopping annuity with J.R. Lauren and the corporate team. Same process. So who are you? What's your dreams, goals? What's success to you? Put that idea, that thought or dream in. Believe in it by focusing on it, visualizing it happening, concentrating on it, act as if. So, here's how it works. Guaranteed. Here's how the computer program works. Garbage in, garbage out. You put good stuff in, the thought, the idea, the vision, the why, the dream, program it. Repeated thought, visualize it, because that forms your beliefs, and that determines your attitudes. And your attitude determines your feelings, and your feelings determine your actions. And your actions result in your behavior, and your behavior determines the result. The shopping annuity, billion-dollar company. So there's no entitlement. There is no entitlement. You can go to church, God's not going to bless you. He gives you the power to bless yourself. There's no entitlement. God helps them who help themselves. Here's the trick. You have to trick or satisfy your conscious mind and logical mind to eliminate doubt that it can be real. Then you accept it. Then you demonstrate it. Okay, how many people are in believe? Do you believe? Do you believe you're going to go director? Do you believe you're going to go director in the next couple of years? Do you believe that the shopping annuity is the answer and you'll grow? Do you really believe? Okay. Now, remember, I don't believe in motivation. Getting excited don't do anything. I believe in irritation. Until you get fed up and say, I've had enough, I'm going to make this happen, get out of my way, nothing's going to happen. Okay, all of you that just said that, do you have your 3 tickets? Because if you don't, you just demonstrated doubt. You demonstrated against the acceptance. Jesus Christ walked on water because he knew he could. He knew he could. I'm not being religious on you. It's a law. I'm walking on water right now. I shouldn't be here. I knew I could, and I believed, and I accepted, and I demonstrated. Demonstration. Are you demonstrating? Did you do the shopping annuity assessment? How many assessments are you going to do this week? Oh, yeah, I believe it's going to happen. I'm going to do it. Mouth it all you want. Did you demonstrate it? Because if you don't demonstrate it, God won't bring it to you. Does everybody understand that? Okay, so I did it with Elizabeth Weber 22 years ago. We programmed her brain. We demonstrated it up here on stage. I didn't make that business happen for her. I did brain surgery on her, mind surgery, messed her mind up. She was ripe for it, right and ripe. And she was the greatest student. So was Pam and Tony. Frank already knew it all, but he was a good partner. So Napoleon Hill says in the laws of success and Think and Grow Rich, anything that the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. Earl Nightingale says, we become what we think about. Ask and it shall be given. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open unto you. For all things are possible to he who believes. Here we are. You see? But see, believing is unconditional. Believing is unconditional. It's either black or white. It's either positive or negative, like binary code. Otherwise, it's wishing and doubt. And doubt is a poison to belief and causes a result we seek to dissipate rather than to materialize. It causes it to dissipate rather than materialize. So, according to the universal law and God's law, it is granted on the asking if you believe and accept and demonstrate with gratitude. It's all about expectation. If you already know it's going to happen, you're already grateful. The only thing better than belief, you ready for this? Is knowing. The only thing better than belief is knowing. Know ye the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I know the truth. I know the truth about what we are. I know the truth about what is needed. I know the truth about what you need. I know the truth about where we're going. I know the truth about what's going to happen because it's meant to be. We're going to make it happen. You want proof? You want proof. It says hocus pocus, right, Joe? Hocus pocus. Ranting and raving. Listen to that guy. I got proof for you. You. You are the proof. You are exactly where you are in life right now as a result of the sum total of your thinking, believing, and acceptance. Right now. Nobody can refute that one. You are exactly where you are in life right now because of the sum total of your thinking, believing, and acceptance, which results in what you demonstrated, which determines where you are. So here's the idea, vision, or seed, the dream that became a reality. And whoop, what happened? The PowerPoint went down. Save me. But that billionth of a volt went off. Did it go off in your mind this weekend with the shopping annuity? Because that's what we're here to do. Pop me the next slide. Converting spending into earning. My point is that all these things that happen because of that. So I met Lauren doing this consulting job, and I had this thought in my mind, and I was frustrated, like many of you have been. I would come home and, I say, everything's upside down, everything's inside out. You ever complain at home? It doesn't make any sense. These guys don't know what they're doing. Mass marketing doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's a caste system. You've got to know the right people to get a product out in the market. You've got to spend millions of dollars on advertising and branding. Most of the great products don't ever get out. And over 50% of the cost of the product is in shipping and redistribution from warehouse to warehouse. And you have to spend hundreds of millions on advertising. And you don't even know if it worked. I said, it just doesn't make any sense. And what I come from, direct sales, it requires too many people and too much volume for too few people to make money. It's all upside down. Everybody's in competition. It's dog eat dog. I got a better way. She said, oh, you do, huh? What's the better way? I remember when I first met Lauren, she used to sleep to noon. I used to give her a list. So I need your help. You want me to do something? I need your help. I don't know what happened. Now she wakes me up at 7 o'clock and gives me a list. But she would say, well, that makes sense. What are you going to do? I said, well, people hate to be sold what they love to buy. And when you go into a store and the salesman comes up and says, can I help you? You don't want to be bothered. You don't say, yeah, sell me something. Because we don't like to be pushed. We don't like to be bothered. Okay? But by the same token, we hate to be sold, but we love to buy. We want what we want, and we want to be able to find it, and we want to make sure we don't get ripped off, and we want the best deal, and we want it now. So why not have something where you find out what everyone wants to buy and get it for them rather than all this mass marketing stuff and all this money spent on advertising and distribution and things get obsolete and out of season and have deep discounts, and it's so hard to do. And she said, well, that makes a lot of sense. She said, what if you could have a database of everybody? And you could see that it was 20,000 people that wanted widget A, 50,000 people that wanted widget B. You could go out and get it, make it better. I wouldn't have to buy a lot of inventory because I already knew who wanted it. And it was sold before I started. She said, that's a great idea. Why don't you just do it, big guy? One-to-one marketing. One-to-one marketing. Tracking what millions of people want, treating each individual individually. You ever hear that before? That was the idea. And she said, why don't you just do it? I said, nobody's ever done it before. I'd argue with myself. Well, it's an idea whose time has come. You should do it. Yeah, but nobody's ever done it before. Yeah, but somebody's got to be the first. You'll probably, change the world. Yeah, but you probably go broke because you don't know what you're doing. You ever argue with yourself? Lauren finally said, why don't you let's just go to a movie. Forget it. I said, okay. So we decided to go to a movie that night and forget the idea, the concept for a minute. So we went now that's taking a risk with me, okay? Because if I don't know what the movie is, I might leave. But at any rate, you should always get a recommendation. We're in internet marketing, recommendations, right? So I started calling people up to find out what movie was good. Nobody was home that night. As luck would have it, we just went to the movie anyway. We lucked out. It ended up being a great movie. 20 years ago, what could it have been? Rocky II? I don't know. But I was in the moment. I lost track of time. I was laughing, crying. It was great. Ever happened to you? And at the end of the movie, I couldn't wait to get home and tell people about it. I spent more time telling people about the movie than I did watching it. you know? And I said, that proves it. This proves it that it'll work. I'm going to see who went to the movie that I told about it. Well, they all went. They started calling me back about it. Wow, you were right. It was great. I said, see, Lauren, if you could track this, you would have an incredible business model. And you could, instead, I looked up, the movie spent $20 million on that release, on the promotion of it. So you know what I could do with that $20 million? So the idea was that we would track it. And if it started over here with Eugene and went all the way down to Tony, everybody would get credit for when Tony went to the movie or spent the money, every single one of you. And when I started figuring that out, I realized that we would go broke because if I gave each person $1 and the movie cost $10, I'd be out of money at Frank. So I figured out that you needed a multiplier. The smallest multiplier was 2. So that's why 2. Because Frank would be half rich already. On what? And you could get caught up in this thing accidentally. Because somebody knew you, and all of a sudden you're getting credit. You only needed 1 more. So Frank now had a reason to get 1 more, but the same dynamic of everybody being on the same team in economic harmony and cooperation and benefiting happened for him too in the second leg. And I doubled the volume. And the genius is we figured out an algorithm where we could give Frank and each one of you credit for that sale equivalent to buying 10,000 or 1,000 units. And units of 1, and store it for you until you had enough to earn a check. And then we did that with other suppliers. That's the genius. Okay, so I started trying to figure out how to program it. We found a programmer, actually programmed it. I tested it first. I called up the 10 people and said, who did you call? I'll cut you in on the deal if you tell me. You know, if you tell your people to let me talk to them. So they would all, they thought that was cool. I didn't even know what I was cutting them in on. But I tracked it, 200 people, 10 people removed. Do you understand this is how this happened? And I said, it works. I can track them. We can automate it. We got it programmed. There was no computers. There was no internet, 1991. I went out and bought 100 Commodore 64 computers and wired them up on dial-up to track what people wanted and for them to place the orders when there was enough people that wanted the same thing. And that's how it started. And we built the database, and that's where the binomial system came from. And that's how Market America was born. And it was always meant to be the shopping annuity because it was based on what people wanted. And Tony and Pam, remember the mall without walls. We're going to have all the different major lines. And someday, we'll be able to provide people everything they want. And we tried to do our own shop.com. And then we found these guys that were way ahead of the curve. And that's how it happened, folks. That's how it happened. That resulted in the mall without walls. And because of what people wanted, it ended up being these major stores, these major businesses within businesses of consumable products that everybody wanted. And you could specialize in any one of them, couldn't you? But get credit for people that were in other ones. But everybody shopped, and you would get a piece of all of that action. Does that sound like the shopping annuity? And the tracking system, people say you're like network marketing. No, we're not. We're a tracking system. We deal directly with the customer, track customer to customer, leading the customer, tie that back to UFO, and then UFO to UFO, tracking the sales, tracking the volume until people hit numbers, and we have the metrics and know what else they want to buy. It's kind of like a reservoir at the top of a mountain. You open it up, the water goes down the path of least resistance. It leads wherever it goes, but when it hits the lake, you get paid. That's not multi-level marketing. Well, I'm getting carried away here. Okay, so converting spending into earning. It makes too much sense. See, here's what happened. I started telling people about it. I thought they'd all be excited. I started showing the little plan. Lauren, was all behind me now. Go do it. Go make it happen. And I thought everybody would get in. You only needed two, make $100,000 a year. I remember the first meeting up in New Jersey. I thought all my cronies would be all excited. They were sitting there. One guy looked like his underwear was too tight. Next guy looked like a rat died in his mouth. How do you think this thing's going to work? Where's your product? Well, I don't have any yet. Well, let me tell you the idea. Where's your literature? I didn't have any literature. I didn't know you needed literature. It was a relationship. And they said, come on, why do you think this thing's going to work? I said, I know it's going to work. It's an idea whose time has come. And I'm going to make it work with you or without you. It's going to work because I'm going to make it work. I said, that's when they joined us. But this is the DNA. I don't know if you're getting my point. This is what created the DNA of what we are, how we're different, and why we know it's real and right and the truth is because it was tested in reality step by step and became what it is and evolved to what it is because the vision became manifested perfectly. And it's perfect. And it works. Does that make sense? How many of you agree with that? You see? So it's not a harebrained idea. So what does it mean to you? What does it mean to you? You see, you got to know what we are. Look at what we are. We're a product brokerage and internet marketing company that specializes in one-to-one marketing and social shopping. You know anything else like that? Unique, powerful. Okay? And look at the people that earned millions of dollars already. They're real. Touch them. They're in this room. Kick them if you want. Now, the problem is you ain't one of them. We're going to change that with a shopping annuity. You see? The shopping annuity. The point is that some of you have not succeeded and are frustrated, and it's a DNA problem. Did you hear what I said? We need to test your DNA. It's a DNA problem. You don't got it yet. You have to know MA's DNA. You have to become the DNA, okay? This is Market America's definition. This is what we are, a product brokerage company that can find any billion-dollar market and bring it in under its umbrella with the marketing monster. And you're all starving for BV. So whatever the product is, whatever the market is, that monster is going to reach out and suck up the volume because you want to. Do you realize how phenomenal this is? We create markets, but we find markets. So whatever's hot, we have the BV hunger, the IBV hunger as little entrepreneurs. We want that volume so we can make the deal and we can bring that product in. So whatever's hot, whatever's on the cutting edge, we'll have it. And we have the hottest products and areas that there is, and that turned into these businesses within businesses, the university concept. Are you getting this? That's better than a one-product company. And so what do we give you? We give you shop.com or Amazon.com, much better than that, in a box. Think about this. We give you the technology, the website, the products, 50 million products, 3,000 of our own, fulfillment, credit card processing, tracking, SEO, SEM, marketing, training, a total turnkey system. As powerful as an Amazon, as powerful as shop.com is, you own one. I mean, You hear all the stuff that Mark talked about? Who has all that stuff in their little site that you know? We give it to you all. Look at these things. It's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Hey, look, I got fed up with people hesitating, complaining. Oh, you got to buy a ticket to a seminar. You got to get this stuff, nickel and diming us. So I said to Dennis, you know, I'm going to franchise this thing. I'm sick of this. And then they can get the distributors. And we'll just give them one price for all the conventions, all the materials, all the trainings, and they'll make a lot of money. So I went out to syndicators and showed them the model, let them come to the company, and they got back to me and said, well, JR, this is an incredible model, but you don't have any real estate. There's no leased equipment, incredible profit margin, incredible lines, incredible technology facilitation and system. But because they're not hard assets, we think the most you can get is $129 million for a franchise. I was thinking 5 or 10,000. Folks, it's worth more than that. But the problem is, I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Because this is an opportunity at the grassroots level for the average person to be able to lift themselves up by their bootstraps and achieve success, and they might not have $129,000. I know that the greatest power in the world is not atomic energy. It is not governments. It's not military. The greatest power in the world is a human desire to be better, to lift themselves up, to be secure, to chase their dream. That power, when you get a model where everybody works together in cooperation rather than in competition, is more powerful than any other force in the world, and that's what this opportunity can do. So no 129,000, but that's what it's worth to you. And I'll tell you what the problem is. Because we only charge you 129 after you try it, after you prove you can make the team, after we sell some product. We only charge you 129, you treat it like a nickel and dime business. But if I made you pay 129,000, what would you be doing? Yeah. That's an idea. You put up 129,000, we make it, we give it back to you. Would you like me to do that? It's probably the best thing for you because you would take it seriously. And here's the greatest thing of all. We give you a business that you can build a $100 million business, a business as big as you want. All of the facilitation, all of the support, all the technology, all the products, all the fulfillment, all of the credit card processing, everything that you need. That's what we give you. But if you succeeded at it, it would become a brick and mortar job. Because now you need customer service. You're doing millions of dollars of volume. You need customer service people. You need fulfillment people. You need to ship the orders. You need to check the metrics. You need to, do SEO, SEM, all that stuff. All of a sudden, you got a building full of people. You remember when that happened to you? Huh? So now you got a job. But what we do is we have a system where when you get too many customers, you can offload them to another unfranchised owner with no dilution whatsoever. In other words, you don't make any money, they don't make any less because you're making money, and you don't make more money off of them from them making less. You both make the same. And you can duplicate that, multiply it, without being tied down to a job because you get residual income. And in the other one, there is no residual income because when you stop, it's gone. And nobody else is servicing the customers or promoting the site or doing the business. You understand that? So it comes down to the franchise versus the unfranchised. And we know why it's better because we don't charge you the money. We pay you the royalty. And the university allows you to involve people into businesses within a business that you would never get before because you only have motives and they want to do web centers. And we combine it all into one plan. And just let me tell you, that dynamic is kind of like a university. You have engineers, you have biologists, you have law people, you have history people. You couldn't get all of them in a university if you didn't have those courses. In this, you can get every product area. That volume, you get credit for it by finding somebody that's good at that loves it, even though you're going to do your own area. And you should exploit it because nobody else has it. Nobody else has it. Do you all understand this? Okay. And now, customization. You ever hear of one-to-one marketing customization? Adobe, Mark's team, IT team. The more you use it, the more it customizes and gives a different offer and a different serving to each person, customer and UFO, that goes to it. So it's talking to you about what you want. And here's my point. If you're going to be an entrepreneur today, you're making a decision. By golly, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to work for the rest of my life and end up broke and get somebody else rich. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to be criticized. Your family isn't going to say, oh, that's great. You're opening a salon or you're opening internet, business or whatever you're doing. They're going to tell you you're going to fail. You know why? If you succeed, you expose their mediocrity. And they rather discourage you so you don't do it so that they don't have to face it if you succeed. But it ain't going to be easy. I don't care what it is. And everybody's not going to say, hey, you did the right thing. Go at it, man. We're all behind you. They're going to criticize you. So if you're going to go into business, you better make sure of something. You better make sure of something. You better make sure that you're in the right place with the right opportunity, with the right people, with the right markets, and the right team at the right time. You got that right now. You see? The hottest trends, the things that people want, that's what we're about, right? The hottest trends, okay? And a global opportunity that has wiring in it that allows for profitability never seen before. Never seen in this industry, where you can actually tie your new development to a check there and finish a check here. And earn an extra check on the entire organization, anyone that does it, that you would never have gotten before. You know why? It's that way. I'm an unfranchised owner, and I want to make this opportunity work for me, and I know what you deal with, and I wanted to give you a reason to be able to build in other countries, to build an empire. You don't need to use it, but that's your loss. So I can give you a few guarantees. Number one, if you don't look, you're not going to find anything. If you don't look to learn, you're not going to learn anything. I want to congratulate you for being here tonight. That's a big step. But once you look and you learn, if you don't try something, nothing will ever change. Nothing will ever happen. Do you agree with that? If you don't take anything away from here and try it, try the shopping annuity, try some of the techniques, nothing's going to change. If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same result. And you're doing the same thing because you have the same thinking. So you have to change your thinking to change what you're doing. And then you have to do it to experience it, because the only real learning is experiential, just like you learned in the plan. And finally, I guarantee you this. You came, you saw, you were willing to try. If you can't do this one, forget everything else. Because you can't succeed at real estate. You can't succeed at insurance. You can't succeed at computer programming. You can't succeed at a brick and mortar business, because they all take more money more know-how, more education. And if you go to open up any type of business, a computer programming business, a website business, a clothing store, is anybody else in that business that knows what they're doing going to help you out and guide you and coach you? Oh yeah, they will. They will, so that you fail because you're competition. Do you understand that? Nobody's going to help you in another business. But here, you not only have the unfranchised and our help, but you have a whole team of people that are successful, that are economically invested in you to make sure you succeed. And someone said, well, I don't got a good sponsor. I say, hey, that's the best thing that could ever happen to you. I didn't have one either. And yeah, a great sponsor helps, but it doesn't prevent you from being successful either. Don't forget that. You know? Okay. So, we got to prime the pump. You got this incredible business, and you got to prime the pump. And by the way, for anybody that has a notion that we are network marketing or MLM, where you have to prime all these pumps, maybe this will explain it to you that we are not that. Okay? So we got to prime the pump, right? And the problem in many businesses is that you have to prime, whether it be stores, whether it be insurance agents you're setting up, or real estate agents. You have to have a lot of them pumping. And you got to get them all primed, making money and working. True or false? If it's a Starbucks, they need to have a lot of them. Okay? I only have to have one here. And we've figured out how to do the binary pump, where we know statistically two can be built, but we tie them together into a system where they can both be done at once. Then everything else gets pumped by those pumps, and the other people who are pumping primes all your other pumps. The most incredible pump system for volume, BV, and residual income ever created. You know? So we give you that single pump with everything in it. I just showed you. Everything that I showed you is in that pump, right? Right? But it's just an unprimed pump. Somebody's got to pump it. Somebody's got to apply the things so that the information and stuff and technology, when you apply it, creates transformation for you and a new life. So the other things, people don't last. They wear themselves out, you know, pumping all those pumps to make $2,000 a month when you can make $3,600 a week on 2 pumps. That's the difference. Does that make sense to you? And for those of you that are new, we have the cookie, boys. We got the bakery. We have everything. Everybody wants a cookie because it's sweet, but usually the cookie crumbles before you eat it. Isn't that true? But we have everything. We have the whole bakery. So whatever people want, we have it. And to help you with that, you got the social media platform. And we teach you what to do with it. That has an endless stream. Hey, listen, some people say, I don't know how to do that. Well, what's wrong with learning something? I mean, what are you, 45 and you can't learn anymore? Because it works. And we're proving it works. And we provide you the best content, the best methods, the best campaigns. Look what Lauren's done, Steve has done. Look at the success that people are having with it. The great thing about it is once you turn it on, you can't turn it off. And it comes and comes and comes and comes and comes, bringing you more and more and more and more. And you need an organization, you know. So information is all the stuff, the technology, the trainings, the products, the model. But we have to apply application, doing the little things day by day, week by week, to make all that stuff work so that we have transformation, which gives you your independence. So, you know, if it's sunny out and you got the greatest sunscreen in the world, it doesn't matter if you don't apply it. You're going to get burned, right? Stole that from Rick. Okay. Transformation. It's time for transformation. We all know what the DNA is about. You know, 2 spiraling helixes with 4 different amino acids at the end of these peptides create the whole diversity of life. It determines what we are. And I love that it's now being applied to business because there truly is a code, an inherent code that determines how the business works, and there's an inherent code that causes people to succeed. It's automatic. So do you have the DNA? Do you do these things? Okay? And if not, it's time to change. It's a digital world, incredible digital world. Without the digital world, we could not track all the customers and all of the vendors and create this miracle. This miracle where we now know who everybody leads to and who they bought from and how much was bought from each store to credit everybody to be able to convert our spending into earning by moving from brick and mortar to click and order in our system. We can regain and reclaim our wealth. And we can create our own new economy. When this country was founded, there was no economies. It was a bunch of what? Farmers, tradesmen, carpenters, clergymen, scholars, a bunch of people, and they did their trade and they exchanged it with other people. They didn't have any economy, and they created their own economy. Tell me why we can't create our own economy. Because everybody shops, and we have everything that everybody uses, and we can track it. And now the vendors, the merchants, need us for the volume. Is this making any sense to you? Okay, so it's just like DNA. Once we get it, it works itself. Let me pop forward here. So here's what happens when you get the DNA. Here's what happens. You have your old brain, and a lot of you have been doing this a certain way for a long time, and you have a way of thinking. Isn't that true? You have a perception about the business, you have your habits, you do it a certain way. And your gears are locked in that way. Now, have you ever heard me say that I'm a part-time brain surgeon? Because when I fly on a plane, somebody says, "What do you do?" I say, "I'm a part-time brain surgeon." They say, "Part-time?" "Yeah, I operate on people's thinking." How would you like me to operate on your thinking? But what are they going to do? I get my little trusty flip chart out. We're on the plane for 2 hours. They're not going to jump out. But when you think about it, really what we do is operate on people's thinking. Elizabeth is another brain surgeon. You know, Carl Eklund. We've been operating on your thinking. And when you think about bringing people into business, they all have fears, hesitations, misconceptions, strengths and weaknesses. And we need to operate on their thinking so that they get it right, so that they can succeed. Okay? Well, when you get the DNA, your brain goes from that to this. This is a shopping annuity brain. Everything that it sees, everything that it uses, everything in the house, everything that it wants, it's going around figuring out where it can get it from shop.com or Market America. Constantly. Isn't that how it works, Jim? It's unbelievable. This is the brain that you'll have once you start doing it. Okay, so we're running out of time today, and you're running out of time in life. You know, it's just a matter of time. It really is. When you think about it, it's a great equalizer. Okay? On my estate, I have old man time sitting there right in between us, between where everybody stays, the recreation center, the business center, because you got to pass by it. And he kind of asks, "What are you doing with your time? Do you like what you're doing?" Because we all have 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 30 days a month, 365 days a year, and who knows how many years. You take OPC3 and Prime, you might last a little longer. But it's a great equalizer. We all have the same amount of time each day. It's what you do with your time. And do you like what you're doing with your time? When he asked me, I said, "I love what I'm doing. I can't wait to talk to the next person." You see, because I'm changing the world one person at a time, two people at a time. I'm changing people's lives. I'm creating my own economy. I'm creating the shopping annuity. You know. So do you love what you're doing? You know, it's funny about age. I remember when you all were a lot younger. The thing that amazes me is you look better now than you did back then. What are you taking? You know, it's funny, you know, at age 4, success is not wetting your pants, right? At 12, it's having friends. At 16, it's having a driver's license. At 20, it's having sex. At 35, it's having money. At 50, it's having more money. At 60, it's having sex again. At 70, it's having a driver's license again. And at 75, it's having friends. And at 80, it's not wetting your pants again. We're all getting a little older, and it's time to think about what we're going to do with the dash. Now, how many times have you seen me do this? And I don't want to do it this time because you know it. But the truth is, it's too late for many people because they don't have a dream and they don't have any way to do anything with the dash, and they've given up. And soon they'll be below that gravestone. It's over. It's too late. You see, now's the time to live. Now's the time to make something happen. What would your book say at the end of your life if everybody had a book? Got born, grew up, got a job, got married, got divorced, got sick, died. Oh, that's a real exciting story. Or would it be an adventuresome story of someone who changed lives, who helped people, who had a life of travel, a life of wonderful friends, who was able to do many things and have many dreams come true? Is that going to be your book? So you're writing it right now. And that's the dash. What are you going to do with the dash? Because you don't have anything to do with the birth date, you don't have anything to do with the death date, but you have something to do with the dash, and that's right now. You know? And I know what happens. I took Lauren to the graveyard. You should go to the graveyard. This is an experience. Go to the graveyard and look at those graves. Those people used to be sitting in here or someplace like it, alive, and they didn't do anything with it. All we can ask is that when we go, we made something of the dash. Because that's the way the good Lord made it. You're going to go someday. And you're so worried about what your friends think. Nobody gets out alive, of life alive. Do you realize that? Not on this plane. You can go somewhere else if you live a good life and do the right things. But you're not going to get out of this life, this carnation, alive. And everybody's dying to, everybody wants to go to heaven, you know, dying to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there, right? But here's my point. You're so worried right now, living the dash, about what your good friend Ralph thinks. Oh, Ralph thinks it's, you know, one of those things, or Ralph doesn't think it'll work, or my neighbors don't think it'll work. And your neighborhood's like a graveyard. All these dead people in these little houses, all the same with numbers on them. Watching what you're doing, criticizing you, gossiping, and you're so worried about what they think. Okay, so your number gets called, and your good friend Ralph that you're so worried about, what are you going to say to him? Ralph, I can't believe it. My number came up. I got so much more to do. You're my best friend. I do everything for you. I need you to help me out, man. My number came up. Will you die for me? What's Ralph going to do? Your best friend that you're so worried about what he thinks. What's he going to say? Is he going to die for you? Huh? So let me give you some advice then. If he's not going to die for you, don't let him live for you now either. You see that? I mean it. Now we're so worried about what people say. What people say, what people think, preconceived notions. These are the things that stop you. These are the things that stop your people. You know that this thing works. Yeah, but, you know, my lawyer and his brother and my sister-in-law, they all have coffee every day, and they think that it's a pyramid and such. A pyramid? What do you think we are, in Egypt? The only pyramid I see is a point on the top of your head. Let me tell you what's a pyramid, buddy. Your job. One president, so many vice presidents, so many divisional managers, so many section managers, so many people at the bottom. None of them can move up without moving somebody else out. They hold you down, and you can never make more money. And the people at the bottom are the ones that lose out and do all the work and are broke. In this thing, we want you to make more money. You can pass the person that brought you in and make more money, and for them to make more money, they got to go under you and work for you. I'll tell you what a pyramid is. The government's a pyramid. One president, cabinet, senate, all the employees and all the people that pay taxes and Social Security their whole life so they can have a retirement, and they go to cash in, there is no money left. So they have to go to the young people, the newer young people, to pay off the older people because there's no money in the Social Security. That's where Madoff learned it. It's a Ponzi scheme, Social Security. And they should throw them in federal prison for it. I think you're mistaken, though. Let me help you out, my friend. I know that you didn't mean anything by that. What this is a demerit. A demerit. A demerit. Have you ever heard of a demerit? What do you mean pyramid? It's a demerit. A demerit. This is a demerit. It's an inside-out, upside-down pyramid because it turns inside out and upside down as each person comes in. I mean it. Look at this. The people at the top work at the bottom. People above must help newer UFOs below to earn. The more volume people have at the top or the higher up levels, they make the newer UFOs succeed because that's the only place they can put their volume or their people. A new UFO brought in by people higher up at the top must go under at the bottom. So Elizabeth builds at the bottom in order to make more money. These people at the bottom have one half of the business already built, so they don't have to do half as much. People at the top make the most money, do it by re-entry at the bottom. So virtually, the whole thing is reversing itself. People in later make more money than those earlier because everybody at the top, they already have one leg built, is putting the business under them and bringing people in. And then the volume, it actually goes inside out because the regenerated volume from the bottom up comes up, okay? So the people at the bottom are really at the top because all the people at the top are doing the work and putting all the volume at the bottom, right? And the tracking system, and a demerit allows all of the volume to be tracked all around the world, regenerating every single month, flowing up. So the people at the top make more money, but all of their volume and work has to go at the bottom in order to make more money. Amazing system. It reverses itself. Do you understand that? I'll send you this. So that's a demerit. I'm actually getting it put in Wikipedia. Okay, so the thing that we got to do is we got to get rid. The one thing that holds us all back in this room is we got to get rid of the people around us that try to pollute our thinking and get us off track. That's the thing that holds you back.
JR. Hey, JR. Come here, JR. I'm interested in that business that you're doing. How about you show me your business, and I'll show you mine.
Oh, come on, JR. You should sign up for this business I'm in. They don't have any requirements.
You need to sign up with my new business. You don't have to work hard. We'll build it for you.
You should sign up for the business I just joined. You don't have to attend any meetings or trainings, and you don't have to sell anything.
The company I signed up for just launched, and they offer ground floor opportunity. You need to check it out.
Come on, JR. You've been brainwashed by your own company. Come on! Come on!
Flush them away. Flush them away. Oh, and I know people have their excuses. Oh, I don't have any time. You don't have any time? Listen, if you want to get something done, find the busiest person you can, because they're the ones that will always get it done. But if you don't have any time, okay, you're going to end up in that grave with nothing in the dash. You better make some time now while you have it so that you can add something to that dash and have a life. Well, I don't know anybody. What are you going to do when you die? It takes 6 people to carry you and a lawyer. So if you can find 6 people to die, you can certainly find 2 people to live. Well, I just don't have any money. I'm down and out. I'm, hard up. It's just been really rough for me. I mean, all this stuff happened and I'm out of a job. I say, don't ever let that be an excuse here. Because we can roll up our sleeves and have some product previews and go see some people, and I'll work with you and we'll do a trial run and we'll earn the money. The only thing that prevents you from doing this is never money. It's lack of desire. But if you want to do it, I'll do it with you and we'll get the money. Does that make sense? And I'm not that smart. I'm just not that smart. I'm not smart like you. Let me tell you something about smart. I've learned that it's the smart people that have the most difficulty doing this, because they spend all their time figuring out how everything won't work. You know anybody like that? I'm glad my kids get a great education, but I hope they stay dumb enough to be entrepreneurs and make money. Now, I'm just not good at the computer and whatnot. I'm not very digital and whatnot. Hey, do you got kids? Get your kids in the business. And by the way, baby boomer, you're so old that you forgot how to learn? You can't learn anything? What's wrong with you? Oh, I'm discouraged. Let me tell you, what are you discouraged by? I'm discouraged by other people that say it won't work and they have money and I don't. I'm discouraged because my sponsor won't help me. I'm discouraged because I know somebody down the street that made a lot of money in something, in some type of internet business, and I haven't made it yet. Oh my God. Let me tell you what the best solution for discouragement is. The best revenge. Success. Wow. And isn't it funny how people don't quit? They just disappear. I've never had anybody come to me and quit. Poof, where'd they go? They were here last week. And the solution to that is I'm always going to work under them so fast that it works regardless of whether they're there or not. And because I make it work first, they ain't leaving. Because they're getting checks. Because they led to somebody. But that's not their people, that's my people. Does everybody understand that? And listen, I know things happen. So success often comes from knowing the difference between patience and procrastination. Would you agree with that? When you can do something, do it. When you can't, have patience, because it'll change. Look, if you ever reach that point where you don't know if it's worth going on, Look around. What else is there? There isn't anything else that compares to this. There's no fairy godmother. Nobody's going to drop out of the sky and all of a sudden make you money, if you haven't figured that out yet. But you do have a chance here. If that day ever comes, tie a knot at the end of the rope when you're at the end of the rope and hold on. Hold on with all you got, because something will happen. Something will change. Somebody will come into your life. Something will piss you off. And you'll make it. And things will change. And I've seen it happen 1,000 times. When somebody was at the end of their rope, about ready to give up. Lord knows I was there one time. But I never quit. And because they didn't quit, things changed. And today they're a director. Today they're a field vice president. So tie a knot at the end of that rope. This is what it's all about. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. That's what we're doing together, you know? And the greatest speech ever made, was made after World War II in Great Britain by this bulldog who persevered through every calamity, everything against him. War-torn, broken down buildings, London, UK destroyed. But this little bulldog was steadfast, rallied the Allies and the troops. And at the end of the war, they came together in Parliament, the dignitaries of the world. He was known to be a great orator. And they had him come up to make a speech. And they were expecting an hour-long speech, like me. And he looked across. Now, you got to realize that all the generals, all the foreign dignitaries, all the leaders of the world are in this room. And as he pierced across the crowd with his cane, the speech was 5 words. Never, never, never give up. That's what it's all about. Make up your mind. I just want you to make up your mind. Never, never quit. I will make it. I got the shopping annuity now. It's the answer. And how many of you have been frustrated? It's hard to build a business when you're controlled by this. You know what this is? That alarm clock. How many of you are controlled by this alarm clock? It limits you. It controls your life. It prevents things. Imagine, that is your master. Never, never, never quit. Make up your mind. Do the shopping annuity. And you can have a ceremony. You can go home and do it if you made up your mind. Because if you believe it, accept it, demonstrate it, it'll manifest. So it's as good as done. The shopping annuity absolutely is miraculous. And it'll work. Lauren and I somehow got stuck with the 45-year plan so that you could have the 2 to 3 year plan. So we have a ceremony once a month to remind us we're doing it because we want to do it. As Tony says, you get paid well. Stop complaining. I'm not complaining. We get a lot of psychic income out of it. But we have a ceremony because we're doing it because we want to do it. We're not controlled. We can get up when we want, go when we want, determine where we work, and work with who we want. So when that thing goes off on the first of the month, that thing that controls you, I want you to join me this time if you're going to do the shopping annuity. You go home and get that alarm clock. I don't care if it's your iPhone, if it's one of those digital things with a music thing in it, and oh, come on, you don't need that thing no more. And you get that sledgehammer out, and when it goes off, be done with it. Symbolic. What do I do with them? Who's going to do that? So we got the DNA. You might as well do it because that chain reaction's automatic. So what am I talking about? Why can you do that? You've been operating the business at 10% of the potential of the unfranchised MPCP engines. 10%. 7% of you order Snap. Hey, I see the records. Mark gives me the reports. I know what you're buying. I know what the averages are. And I know that you didn't mean to do it. You didn't understand. Now that you understand, are you convinced? If you're convinced, are you committed? Are you going to take some ownership and do the assessment? Because when you see it works, you're going to become an evangelist. And you're going to get everybody in. And you're going to get rich. It's going to happen. And so, all that has happened in this business that you have seen for years, all that's happened is that you've seen, all of a sudden in the Federal Express, you saw the arrow. And we created a way of doing it because we weren't ready, didn't have all the pieces together, and I didn't want to march if I didn't know I was going to win. I know we're going to win now. So this is what you were doing. We had a nice car, right? It's been a nice ride, hasn't it? You made money. It got you around. It's been a nice trip. Kind of boring, though. You'd like to make a little more money? Tony, double? Elizabeth, want to double your income? Okay, so some of you have gotten frustrated. Some of you got tired. You get tired of seeing people pass you. This is you in your Market America car with the MPCP engine and the gas you're putting in it. People are passing you. You're not making the progress you want. How many people have felt that way from time to time? Oh, come on, be honest. I feel like that all the time. I'm never satisfied. Well, the shopping annuity adds to that. Shop.com, social commerce, global unification, and the shopping annuity, which is a supercharged, superpowered engine. The same amount of work, same amount of time, same amount of people, but it takes it from 10% to 80%. It's like you're putting around the racetrack in this engine that you got into at 30 miles an hour because it has a governor on it when it's capable of going 180 miles an hour. So when you get in this car with the shopping annuity, it just takes right off. So this is you.
Here come the cars to the finish line. It's Cole Trickle taking the win.
You ready? You want to win? So can we change the world? I think you understand with a shopping annuity and 2 get 2 get 2 get 2 get 2 get 2, it can happen. It will happen. And we're going to create a paradigm shift. You know, a paradigm shift is like a family always had the ham on Easter Sunday, and they cooked it a certain way. And they always cut the end of it off, and nobody could figure out why. So they called up Granny, they called up great-grandma, and great-great-grandma. Great-great-mama said, I use this same recipe you do, but I had a little oven, and it wouldn't fit in there, so we had to cut the end off. For 20, 30 years, they kept cutting the end off, even though they had a big oven. There was no reason to do it that way anymore. But that's being stuck in a paradigm. Now, are you ready to change the paradigm? You see? Are you ready to change the economic answer? You've been in the business for a while, and you've been doing okay, and you think you know what it's all about. I was amazed by this. I never saw this before. I've been using FedEx all these years, and I never saw that arrow. That's like you being in the business for 15 years, 5 years, and you never saw the shopping annuity. Do you see it now? You see? And it's just going to be fun, folks. It's going to be fun. It's a funny cartoon, but it's funnier when you make the money. And it really does work, you know? So we know that there's going to be an economic paradigm shift. Why was this never in existence before? Because nobody ever had what we had. Nobody had a product broker company with all the different consumable lines. No one ever had a shop.com. Nobody ever had a tracking system like we have. Nobody ever had the pieces of the puzzle to make this work where we could reclaim our economy. And instead of being separated by major corporations so that they can get as much money out of us as they can, we can now flex our muscle and use our people power to convert our spending into earning by working in cooperation rather than in competition. And we can literally change the world because everybody shops. People don't have the money to invest. They're living from paycheck to paycheck, but they're all spending. And we found a way to take a piece of all of that spending and invest it for them in a machine that creates a residual income. So after it's spent, they actually have a residual income, an investment account working for them. It's miraculous. It's economic alchemy. Nobody else has it. It works. It's a miracle. Are you going to grab it and make it happen? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. If you didn't get it by now, okay, telling you, you can't stop an idea whose time has come. Do you agree with that? Do you see that, you know? So it works better than Wall Street. It works better than financial annuities. We know that it's not based on the risk that the financial markets are, because margins will always be there. People always will need products, so there'll always be margins. And we're able to capture the margin. And the power of numbers and the power of people allows us to force prices down and to increase our share of the margin, which turns into IBV and BV that feeds the shopping annuity. So it's a reality. I just want you to understand how this works from a manufacturer's point of view. A paradigm shift happens when the economics support it, and there's a difference between the old economic way and the new economic way, a gradient that makes everything shift to the better economics. Do you understand that? That's the basic rule that causes a paradigm shift. So, here's what happens. The wholesaler, right, sends it to the retail store, okay? It's at $40 now. It was $10. Now it's $60, and then you have to run ads, they have to pay for them, and they sell it to you at $100. So in the new model, an internet retailer, but most internet retailers are single product or single markets. They don't have everything, right? They get it at 40, and they sell it to you. It's not popping. There goes the box at 80. I'm having trouble with there you go. And now here's the new paradigm. Shop.com with one-to-one marketing. You know what the customer wants. You're guiding them, okay? You search, you direct order, the product comes direct to you, and you save in cash back, in the money, and in the IBV, the difference of the two. So the same product, but you're winning. Well, what about the other people in the game? The consumer, before there was no incentives, okay? But we have people power, power of numbers. And if all of your customers are doing it, all of you are doing it, what type of power do we have? You do understand that, don't you? That if we can show Eddie Alberti that $100,000 a month they're moving of this, he can probably get the IBV to go from 15 to 50. But when you go in there and say, we only had 5 move, that's not going to get them to move much, is it? Do you understand that? So every time you order, you vote. You're voting for higher IBV. Okay, so there it goes. And you get the cash back. And here's the business owner. Did you get that? Did you see that? Oh, I'll back it up for you. So look on the screen, we are the unfranchised owners. We search and buy, we have customer bases. We can show them what to get. Oh, sorry. So we get cash back, the customer gets cash back, you get BV and IBV, and that goes into shopping annuity. So when everybody is buying, the product costs us less. We get the share that the stores were going to get or the Amazons were going to get, and the customer wins. So you win and the customer wins. I could go into this more detail about the supply chain. Can we flip to that next point? Not the next slide, the next 200, whatever. Where I told you to shoot to. There, thank you. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. By the way, I know that the mind can only absorb what the rear end can endure, and we're about there. So we're coming in for a landing. But I want to come in strong. Okay, so at the end of the day, the partner supplier wins, okay, more sales. Market America wins, reduce costs, raise profits via portal website, which we give to you. The shopping annuity for the unfranchised owner, and the customer has no risk. They get cash back, a lower price, and they can get a shopping annuity too, and convert their spending into earning. So it comes down to a decision. Did you understand the shopping annuity now? Do you really, after this weekend? So it comes down to a simple decision. And to do it, I'm putting out $78 million on the table in BV and IBV that goes up your legs that many people benefit from and can spike your checks. It really comes down to a question, are you going to try it? Are you going to do it? Or are you just going to do it, or are you going to think about it? Okay? We can change the world. We can change the business. We can fill this place with directors next time we're together. And folks, the show is on now. The money's on the table. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Are you going to put your action where your heart is, where your mind is? Are we going to make this thing happen? That's the question. How many assessments can you do? It comes down to how many assessments can you do this month? And then you will have experiential learning. You will see that it works, okay? You know, the hardest thing for me has been the same thing that was the hardest for Steve Jobs. It wasn't my ideas. It wasn't whether it would work. It wasn't if we could do it. It wasn't if it made sense. It wasn't that we didn't know how to do it. My hardest job has been convincing my own people. First, from lack of understanding, then from doubt, concern, and then just not believing. It's been my hardest job to get you to believe, to get my team to believe. They now believe. They now believe. He changed the world with his thinking. But the hardest part of it wasn't that the world wasn't ready for it, wasn't that we all don't love the technology, isn't that it wouldn't work. It was his own people. They even fired him. You would probably fire me, but you can't. And he came back. He came back and he changed the world, and it worked. I'm back. I understand your cynicism. I understand that some of you are skeptical. I understand that some of you just really want to understand and know and be sure before you put yourself out. I really understand that. And I don't mind it. I haven't minded it. You guys know. But I know this too. The greatest evangelist is the convinced critic and skeptic. The greatest evangelist is a convinced critic and skeptic. So, if you believe as I believe and see as I see, and now have had an epiphany, or now see the light, we go through a couple stages. Do you understand it? I told you about this yesterday. If you understand it and it makes sense, are you convinced? Are you? Well, if you're convinced, are you committed now? Because you got to go through that phase. And if you're committed, do you believe in it with a passion that'll allow you to evangelize it and take it to the world to help people because you know it's the right thing, that it's economic salvation for people, and it can not only make you rich, but your team rich and your friends rich, and it can help everybody have economic equality? Is it that powerful for you? You see? Will you try? For those of you who've been around for a while, will you give it one more try? What do you got to lose? Will you go for it? Will you just do it? You see? How many assessments can you do this month? That's the real question. Look, I don't know how long you've been in the business, and I had some great stuff here, but I'm always packing 15 pounds of sugar into a 5-pound bag. The bottom line is, we have defined in minute detail, systematically, simply, what makes the business work and what you got to do day by day. And when you got in, you made an agreement and committed to the 2 to 3 year plan. And we told you what it took to make the 2 to 3 year plan work. And it was something that anybody could do. And some of you have done it. Some of you did it for a while. Some of you are just starting. But at the end of the day, it comes down to little things that anybody can do. It's not like rocket science, or you got to be a physicist, or you got to be a great athlete, or a great virtuoso musician and need talent. Would you agree that the things in the Basic 5, Base 10, 7 Strong, the things in the Getting Started Guide, the basic steps on that ladder, on that stairs, really do work and really do make sense? And you really can do them. See, it comes down to focus. Now, here's my concern. You say, I've been in for 6 years, and I'm only making 60 grand. Why? Why? Is it that it doesn't work? There's other people making millions. Is it that you're not that good? That you didn't make the cut? Now, I can go through and I can coach each and every one of you and I do as much of it as I can, and I can break down exactly what it takes to get what you want, exactly what we got to do, and if I do it with you, you'll probably do it, and if I'm not there, you could do it. But you didn't take the pill, right? Remember? I submit to you that those of you that are not making six figures, that have been in for 2 to 3 years, have miscalculated. I'm not going to say lie. You miscalculated because it doesn't start the day you sign the application. That's not the 2 to 3 year plan. It's a stopwatch that counts every day that you go to work, that you do the basic fundamentals, not an 8-hour day of hard work at an office where you have to figure things out and perform and make certain accomplishments that you're expected to do and you're being watched. It's stressful. No, it's not that. There are little things. Making a post, doing a social media campaign, making a call, showing the plan that we all agree everybody can do. The thing is, you didn't do it. How can you count that as a day? You didn't show up. This is good news, though. You're not doing so badly. You weren't in 6 years. You were in, or 4 years, you were in 6 months. Because when we add up the days and the weeks and the months that you did what you agreed to do, that we both agreed and have proven will work and will produce an income, you only had 6 months in, not 4 years. And that's pretty good. And you are making 60 grand. What would happen if you did it the way you're supposed to do it? We can set back the clock. We can set back the clock for you and start again. You only got 6 months in. You gained 2.5 years. And you're going to do it with a shopping annuity. And it only takes 1/4 of the people. 4 times the BV, 8 times the IBV. Where's the clock? Can I get the clock up there? Let's agree that you're not in for 4 years. When we added up what you did each day, each week, each month to climb that stairs, you've only been in for 6 months. So move that back. And let's all agree. Let's figure it out. What's the real amount of time you put into the business? By day, by week, by month, by doing the result-producing activities. And now let's set the clock back and restart, which took me 23 years to come to this point where we can start with a shopping annuity, the way it was always supposed to be. Can you agree to that? Oh, wow. So, to get into the business, you got to get off the 45-year plan. You may still have it while you're building the business, but the whole point is to get off of the treadmill, right? The 45-year plan, where is it? Can I have that up there? The 45-year plan. You get a job. They tell you that if you work for 45 years, you'll be able to retire, have a nice life, and you'll move up, and you'll move up, and you'll make more money. Okay? And you're not going anywhere. You work for 5 years, 10 years, you're not going anywhere. That's being in business for yourself when you have to flip. You understand that? The guy that has to flip, he had the 45-year plan with a business of his own. That's harder than anything, a brick and mortar business. There's more than 24 hours a day. Does everybody understand that? We have the most incredible entrepreneurial opportunity ever made, where you don't have any of the overhead, where you have all the power, all the multipliers, all the leverage, all the help, all the choices, and the shopping annuity, and everybody shops. And whatever your excuse is, oh, it's too complicated, oh, it takes too many people, oh, I don't know how to get people in, oh, the shopping annuity is the answer. I'm sorry that it wasn't here 20 years ago. So, at the end of the day, we get people out of the rut, out of the cartwheel, the treadmill, to get into business, don't we? Isn't that what this is about? I'm asking you. I'm talking to you. What we do for a living is we know that people don't want to be on that treadmill for their whole life and end up broke. True or false? Okay? So we get them into business. You got into business to get off that treadmill. True? People who actually become entrepreneurs and own a traditional business get on that treadmill and do flips, whereas you're just running with a job. You agree with that? Do you? Okay, so you're smart enough to get the 2 to 3 year plan and get in this business because you don't want the 45-year plan and to be on the treadmill. So what happens? This is what I don't want you to continue doing. Because for many of you, okay, you got out of a job, into the business, and started doing it the wrong way, your way. No, I'm not going to do the shopping annuity. Writing is crazy. Oh, no, I can't afford to buy tickets for the next convention. Oh, I'm not going to do 2 people a week to get 100 people see the plan by the end of the year. I already sponsored my 2. I activated. I'm done. Oh, no, I'm not going to do a university major. I'm just going to work harder and harder and harder and do it my own way because I know what I'm doing and I'm going to make it. I don't need that type of stuff. That shopping annuity, they just want you to buy more products. They're just using you. And it's not working. Oh, well, I'm going to do it another way. I heard somebody has another way to do it where you co-op with other people and run ads, you know, and then you all put money in a pool and you get somebody to do your training for you. And you don't need to go to seminars. You don't need to do the shopping annuity. Shopping annuity is kind of like a thing where they're trying to get money out of you. I don't think it's going to work. So I'm going to keep doing it this way. Well, 6 months goes by, and you're no further ahead than you've been before. Because you're not doing the shopping annuity. And you're making the 2 to 3 year plan into the 45-year plan treadmill. And now you want to get off because you tried it the wrong way for a couple years. You can take those 2 years off the clock. You tried it another way for a year. But when you admit that you didn't do the daily, monthly things, you begin to realize that, hey, I made it in to the 45-year plan job. I didn't do the unfranchised. But now that we have the shopping annuity, you want to get off of the treadmill. You want to come back and do it the unfranchised way. But it ain't that easy. It ain't that easy when you're stuck in a pattern. But if you make up your mind and you convince yourself that it'll work, and you commit, and you get your people in, you can come out and start again fresh with a 2 to 3 year plan, with a few months on the clock, and come back next year as a director and make it happen. I want to tell you something. Magic moments. I talked about them. We each have our magic moment. I want you to have your magic moment tonight. I want you to go back as a shopping annuity evangelist, because you know it helps people. You know it's economic salvation. You know that your group will succeed, your people will make money, and you'll get rich. I've waited 23 years for this magic moment. To see Elizabeth with such passion as we started with, to see you all starting to get it, is a magic moment for me. I know that this can change the world. I know that we, together, honestly, can change the world. We can make history. This is right. It makes sense. It's pure. We can do it. As a group of entrepreneurs, we can do it. We can change the world. I love you. I believe in you. Let's get rich. Let's do it. Can I bring the corporate team up? Let's do it. Here we are, a magic moment. Do you feel it? Do you feel the spirit?